Hi everyone, welcome to Youth Express. My name is Boitumelo Mahlaba. Today we will be talking to Towela. Towela is the founding CEO of BI Tech Africa. Welcome, Towela.
Well, thank you to me. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Towela, do you mind just giving us a brief background about what you do?
Okay. So I am the co-founder and CEO for a company called BI Tech Africa. We are a digital transformation company. We specialize in business intelligence, data analytics, and automation. And we also specialize in strategy development, change management, and project management. We started our company in 2016. I left corporate then to start business intelligence, BI Technologies Africa. And the reason why I decided to start the company was I felt cramped in corporate. I felt like my wings were constantly being clipped, and I felt that I didn't have a free space to make mistakes, and I was afraid to make mistakes. And if I voiced my opinions, I was constantly not heard, or yes, it's good, and it was sidelined. So I decided to open up my own organization, more like creating my own table where I could express myself, but also employ people into my organization, specifically women in tech, where they're free to just make mistakes, where they're free to learn from those mistakes, where they're free to innovate. So that was the main reason why I started BI Technologies Africa. And we've grown ever since 2016. We have an internship program where we get interns from across the country. We've got interns from University of Mpumalanga. We've got some interns from University of Johannesburg and University of Pretoria. So it's very diverse. And I was quite specific in getting more females, because finding a woman in tech who does software development as a full stack developer, meaning back end and front end, is like a unicorn in a haystack. So they're few and far between. So very deliberate. Some people call it bias, but I need to be biased in order to try and bring that equality when it comes to seeing more women being represented in tech spaces.
Towela, I love what you mentioned about you felt like you couldn't breathe, you were just oppressed, you couldn't voice your ideas, etc. in the corporate space. But obviously before you embarked on this journey of entrepreneurship, you had a plan, right? Because I'm assuming you're a mom of four beautiful kids. Is it 4 kids, right?
Four kids and 2 fur babies.
And you see, okay. But you are a mom and you have responsibilities, and in order for you to, decide to cut off and move on to a different path, there has had to be some sort of plan to actually exit and then start this. Can you tell us more about that? And I'm asking this out of curiosity because I know a lot of youth very much interested in entrepreneurship, doing their own thing. But what steps did you take to ensure that you are prepared? You can never really be fully prepared, but to get you started in this entrepreneurship journey.
Okay, so I'll go back to a little bit about my career. So initially, I actually started off as a receptionist. I studied economics and management at University of KwaZulu-Natal in Durban. And my first role was as a receptionist at an IT consulting firm that did business intelligence. In fact, that's where I learned how to become a BI developer. And it was consulting. So I've always been in that consulting space. So from a receptionist, I then literally forced my way to become a developer.
Okay.
And what I mean by forced is I was young, so my frontal cortex hadn't yet developed, so I was taking lots of risks.
Yeah.
So if a senior consultant wanted to go somewhere, I'll jump into the car with them and say, I've diverted the calls to Cape Town. I'm coming with you. And then I also self-taught. I taught myself. Okay. So as I gained experience in the business intelligence space, I worked for another consulting company. And they actually asked me to, one of the directors left, and the remaining founder asked me to join. So he wanted to sell shares to me. And I was talking about this with my husband actually today, because I was like, it's almost like I was born to be an entrepreneur, because at that time I said no, because I was pregnant with my first child, and it seemed very risky to leave corporate and join them as a director running the business. I didn't feel ready. And so I didn't buy the shares, and I left the organization and I joined another bigger consulting firm. If anything, they did actually headhunt me. And so then I went there. Now, when I was there at that corporate, big organization, big corporate, lots of hierarchical structures. If you want to get promoted, someone has to, die, or, you're overlooked because you're a woman of color. And then I'm very passionate about data, and that was 2008. And I kept talking about data strategies. I kept saying, our customers have got so much data, they don't know what to do with it. Let's introduce a new service offering and give them data strategies. And it was, no, Towela, let's not rock the boat. It's a good idea. It doesn't, reach the MD and all of that. So that's when I started feeling choked and all of that. But what prepared me to leave? Honestly, I think I was fortunate because I was married and I had 2 kids at the time. They were 4 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 and 2.
That's when you decided to leave corporate.
Yes.
Okay.
So why I'm saying I was fortunate enough was because while I was in corporate, I would always dream of starting my own company. And I would always feel like I'm wasting time here making money for someone else when I could actually be doing this for myself and solving the problems that I want to solve, that I've seen that, customers are actually facing. So it was always a nagging thing to say, you need to go, you need to leave, you need to leave. But like I said, I was fortunate enough because my husband was working and he was very supportive. And he told me, he said, if you want to leave, you have to understand that we're going to have one income now. So no more Woolworths, no more extracurriculars for the kids, because I was that woman.
Sacrifices.
The kids have 3 curriculars, and he's like, we need to sacrifice because this is how much money that we've got. So if you want to leave, it means our income is going. So you need to be willing to take that sacrifice. The other thing that I had a mentor, by the way. I'm a firm believer of mentorship. I would encourage all youth, even if you're still at school, as in high school, if you're in university, get yourself a mentor, get yourself a coach, just to help you in terms of your skill set and just being soundboards to guide you in some of the decisions that you need to make.
And talking about the mentor aspect of it, did you find a mentor that has the business experience or that's an entrepreneur, or did you keep a mentor that was in the corporate space at that time?
That's a good question. So I have a mentor for my personal life, spiritual life, and then I also have a mentor for my business. So currently my mentor who guides me in terms of my business is also an entrepreneur. Okay. And I also don't look at male, female. It's very diverse. It depends on if we bond, if we've got a rapport, and if they really do understand me. So my mentor currently is actually a male, and he guides me when it comes to decision making in my business. And then when I was in corporate, it was a mix. So I had a mentor who was female running her own business. And she was my age. Because I think there's also this myth that a mentor needs to be someone really older than you. It can even be someone younger than you. But she was my age, and she was just such an inspiration because she was an entrepreneur in IT, black female, and she was very successful doing the things.
And I like what you've just highlighted now, right? Something that comes to mind is you had the right tools to prepare you to actually embark on this journey. You've got a master's from Gibbs. That obviously, being a Gibbs student as well with the master's, I know that it does some form of switches on something there from a strategy perspective, as well as seeing other opportunities outside. You just want to go out and change the world. But then the other part that you're mentioning as a tool as well is having a mentor, right? That's a critical aspect of it. And then the support structure that you had from home was also quite critical in enabling you to take this on. And obviously you mentioned that you had to make a couple of sacrifices, such as financial. You had to downgrade on a lot of stuff. But then from a plan, we get that you had the tools, but what was the plan and how did you actually go about executing this plan that you had?
There was no plan.
You just went and did it.
I know you want to hear what was the plan. So my husband, who by the way also left corporate, and joined me in entrepreneurship. So our personalities are very different. He's a very structured person who plans to the T. For our wedding, he planned the spreadsheet right down to the last cent. I'm more of a spontaneous doer. I do things. So when he was saying, you know what, I see what you're doing and I believe in what you're doing, I will give myself 3 years and I'll join you. Okay, so he put his plan in place. I was fortunate enough to say, okay, fine. Yes, this is what I'm thinking. But my mentor, going back to my mentor advised me. He said, Towela, before you leave corporate, leverage your network and start getting customers before you leave. Because it's cold out there. Right now you're behind a bigger brand. People want to know you because you are associated to the brand. But when you're now out there on your own building a brand, it's tough. So he said, before you take the leap, start gathering your customers, feeling the waters, leverage your network, so that you don't make decisions because you're hungry. Get a retainer, know your worth, find out how much you want to be paid for your service or your product. And he says, do that now in corporate while you still have the luxury to still negotiate.
But that requires some level of expertise and confidence, right, in negotiating. And it's something that a lot of female, even males, struggle with. So how would you advise one to build on that? How does one build that confidence to sit at the table, negotiate, and talk about what it is they want?
So, going back to my MBA, the reason why I did my MBA was I was coming out of corporate and I was very technical. I'm in IT. So I was very technical. So now running a business requires business acumen. Like you said, you need to have a strategy. You now need to start branding. You're building a brand. You've got people. So there's HR, there's finances that you need to manage your workflow, your cash flow, and all of that. So I decided to do my MBA because I felt things like negotiation skills, things like sales, I could increase or improve that skill set of mine by actually like doing it and going through the process and getting the business acumen from doing my MBA. So when it comes to negotiating, I must say in the beginning it was trial and error. I must admit. It was more like, let me put a price that I'm willing to be paid for. Sometimes you go in low and then you realize, oh, there I went in low. Actually, the market actually can pay a bit higher. And then next time you've learned. So next time you know what you're pricing. In IT, we have rate cards. So it was like in business intelligence, what's the rate card for a senior business intelligence developer or a junior, and that sort of thing. So, and the rate card I learned from my mentor who was my age, who was also running her business. So when it comes to negotiation, I must say I really did feel I was lacking in there, especially on the confidence and what it is to negotiate. What does it even mean? What do I want to get out of it? Is it a win-win? And I learned the skill set of negotiation because that was one of my electives. It was negotiation skills. I was very specific to say this is what I want to do. So when I went in for my MBA, I think I was fortunate enough because there were certain things I knew. I said, this is where I'm lacking. So like a self-awareness to say, I'm strong here, but here there's room for improvement. And I was very specific in my electives to say, these are my electives because this is the skill set that I want to enhance so that I'm a better business leader.
And for the ones that don't have that luxury or for the, of going in and doing an MBA, how would you advise the youngster or the youth out there to flex that negotiation and communication muscle?
Okay. So I would say nowadays there's a lot of content online. LinkedIn have got amazing courses that you can just do, and they're free, where you can learn about negotiation skills, you can learn about communication for impact. For example, I have a very high-pitched voice, and so I go for coaching on how to control my voice so that I can develop that gravitas when I speak to people. But I think it all starts with self-awareness, meaning what am I really good at? Write down the things. You write down the things you're good at, and then write down the things that you think need improvement. Another thing that people tend to not like is feedback. Actively source feedback from your clients, from your colleagues, from your family and your friends. Sometimes we may hear things that we don't like, but it is in that where you now get the self-awareness to say, okay, a lot of people, I've asked 10 people and 7 have said, this particular thing about me, maybe it's something I need to really work on. So actively sourcing feedback really helps, even if it's a spouse, a friend, a boyfriend, girlfriend, ask for that feedback. Did I do this well? Where can I improve? What are the areas of improvement? Another thing I would say is the free resources. I talked about LinkedIn, there's Udemy, there's Coursera, and some of these courses are quite reasonably priced, like less than 1,000 rands, if you want to improve your negotiation, and try it out. Negotiate with a store owner. The other day I was at the Decorex, and there was this amazing painting, and they were like, oh, if you get it today, you get it for, I think it was 5,000 rand off. And I was like, how about 8,000 rand off? And then they were like, why? And I was like, if I pay today, can I get 8,000 rand off? So sometimes it's just about you also applying what you've learned, and you learn from it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love the part that you mentioned about feedback. That's not something we often do, right? But one would also attest to the fact that you require some level of EQ in order for you to accept the feedback and go back and work on whatever it is that you need to work on. So what would you say, just a curious question, to a 16-year-old Towela?
On feedback?
Yeah.
Okay. So I love teenagers. I've got a teenager and a preteen. My preteen is 11, going on 18. But she teaches me so much, and so does my teen. They're very curious. They want to know how the world works, and they've got access to information. So when it comes to feedback, it's a bit of a tough one, because I'm always telling my children, don't care what people think about you. I always tell them that. But in terms of improvement, I would say, I would tell them to get a mentor. I would tell them to get a coach. I really would. And the coach and the mentor, ask them, where can I improve? How can I improve? And it's improvement. It's not a failure. It's not a disability. It's more around asking around, how can I improve? Because I want to be better. I want to do better. I want to learn from that mistake. And you will find that when you ask from a place of authenticity to say, I really just want to be better and improve, you'll find the person giving you the feedback won't be as harsh.
Sure.
But the nice thing about coaches, if you think about a coach really, let's say you want to improve your public speaking skills and you get a coach to help you with your public speaking. They are constantly giving you the feedback. They'll be like, over there, you trembled a little bit. Maybe, don't use filler words, don't use and oh, and also, they're giving you constant feedback. So I think I would encourage the youth to, at a very young age, source that feedback and ask people to give them feedback. And it's also a skill to give feedback. They can also practice giving feedback to people.
That comes with a certain level of curiosity, right? You have to be curious to actually want to know more about that. Absolutely. Or learn more, improve in that area of your life. But yeah, closing remarks, Towela?
Closing remarks, I would say to the youth, the world is your oyster. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it, because you can. And if doors close, I'm a firm believer of creating your own tables. If someone doesn't want you to sit at their table, create your own, because you can. You've got the power within you. And source out those coaches and the mentors. A teacher can be a coach, your parent can be a coach, someone in your community, in your church can be your coach. And source out mentors, people with knowledge. A mentor is someone who's experienced, with more knowledge, that can guide you and give you guidance over a specific period of time. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. People have done it. So ask them for that experience. So I would say, if you really want to make it, whether it's in entrepreneurship or in corporate, don't stop asking questions. Continue being curious and get yourself a mentor.
Thank you so much for that, Towela.
Thank you,
Thanks, everyone. That is it.
Thank you.